Hey guys, Kubear TV, and we're doing our Peacekeepers deck guide, the 2020, the 60 cards I'm currently using. So without further ado, let's just jump straight in here. So first of all, Doom Traveller, 1-1, when it dies it puts a 1-1 flying white spirit token on the battlefield, good card. My next card is Elite Vanguard, it's a 1 cost as well, 2-1, that's it, Human Soldier, simple as that. I like these cards, they're all 1 costs. The Loyal Sentry obviously as another 1-1, but whenever it blocks a creature, remember blocks, if you attack and you get blocked your ability doesn't work, which I think some people might have thought, because the amount of people that have attacked with this creature thinking if I block it they'll die is incredible. But only when this blocks does it kill a creature, but it's a really good wall, so we run that. We are currently running 3 Accordaire Paddling. Good God, we couldn't get that out. It's a 2 cost, 3-1 with Battle Cry. I like this card. It's only a 2 cost. It's a 3-1. You know, so I mean, in the bonuses it's got a Battle Cry. You can trade with, you know, big creatures with this card, and that's why I like it. You know, because of the 3. I mean, it's only got 1 in the back, so you've got to be careful when attacking because you might lose it to something small. But it's only a 2 cost. But we run 3 of them, and you know, this is the good combo if you get them all out together because the Battle Cry chains up, so that's why I like it. Moving on to our next card, obviously we're running Honor of the Pure, run both of them, 2 cost and all your great creatures get +1/+1, it's an enhancement, great card, basically the same as a Glorious Anthem but 1 cost cheaper, so we run both of them. We run obviously Journey to Nowhere, enhancement, when Journey to Nowhere enters a battlefield you exile a target creature, and obviously when Journey leaves the battlefield the creature comes back, but it's a 2 cost as well, we run 2 of them. One of the debatable cards in my deck, sorry excuse me guys, is obviously the Master Decoy. 2 cost, it's a 1-2 and it has this ability, if you tap it and spend 1 power you can tap a target creature. I like this card. I mean, it's not a great card, I'm not going to go, oh, a brilliant card, it should be in your deck. A lot of people probably won't run it. I run it because the way I run the Peacekeeper deck is very disposable. I use a lot I use that word as I use the creatures as disposable. They're not as important as in some decks where you really want to hold on to them. So I run this, and the reason I run this is because originally I wasn't running any of them. I actually had, I'll just quickly show you, I had these tokens in, the Captain's Call. Now the reason I swapped them out is this is a 4 cost and it puts 3 white soldiers on the battlefield. So for the same cost, I can get 2 of these guys on the battlefield. And for me, that was a better trade. I mean, obviously, the cards in hand, you could have 2 of these in your hand instead of 2 of these. But just because this is 2 cost, and later on with, I think it's Sun Titan, I like the cheap ability. The Sun Titan can bring these guys back. And the ability comes in handy sometimes, especially if they've got big creatures and you're constantly tapping that big creature down. It's an annoying card that they have to deal with. So that's kind of why I run it. Obviously I'm running the 2 Pacifies, you know, a white deck that has cards that, you know, basically take out creatures, so I run both of them. Run the 2 Raise the Alarms, just drop 2 1 soldiers for 2 on the battlefield. Moving on to our 3 costs now, our Attended Knight, it's a first strike 2-2, but when you drop on the battlefield it comes in with his little squire dude, which is another 1-1 soldier. Another really good card to have. Obviously with the, as you can see with the deck, it's all about the small creatures and then powering them up with obviously Honor of the Pure and Glorious Anthem. So I like this card. Moving on, Crusader of Ordric, I like this card as well. I know a lot of people don't run it, but it's only a 3 cost and it's as strong as the amount of creatures on the battlefield. What you've got to do is be careful is when you attack with this and you're attacking with other creatures, you've got to make sure on how he blocks, because he could block quite smart and kill this by not doing as much damage. And if you've got 5, say this has got 5 and he blocks 3 of your other creatures and puts a 2 against this, he'll kill this. So you've just got to be careful of that, but I like it because sometimes you can be like, you know, 5 or 6 and you're swinging in, and it's only a 3 cost as well. So against like decks like Obedient Dead, it forces them to use kill cards on it. And early on if you're drawing them, like I played a game against Obedient Dead where I basically was drawing one of these every turn, I'm just casting it, and you had to use a murder, and you had to use a murder. And that's basically 2 or 3 of his murders gone on my, what I'd class as my weaker cards. So that's why I run them. Obviously we run the Fiend Hunter, our 3 cost, great card. It's a 1-3, but when it enters the battlefield you exile another target creature. So you just go in there and it does its whole scorpion, get over here, and brings the target creature over to your side and exiles it for the time being. And it's 1-3, so it's a good little blocker as well. Plus it gets the boost from Glorious Anthem and Honor of the Pure. Moving on, Glorious Anthem, obviously, +1/+1 for all your creatures, all creatures you control. Obviously on the purest white creatures, but as you're only running white creatures, basically the same thing. But imagine if you get all 4 of these on, that's all your creatures getting +4/+4. I've had 3 on at most at the moment. I've never had all 4 of them on, but the combination is really good. It just makes all these weak creatures really powerful. Right, moving on to next 3 cost, obviously Oblivion Ring, or Ring of Doom. Excel at any other target non-land permanent, so you can get rid of enhancements, creatures, anything you want as long as it's not a land, so we run that as well, good card. And then we come into the final cards of our deck. Odric, Master Tactician, he's a 4 cost, 3/4 with first strike, and if you attack with 3 other creatures you get to choose the blockers, so you can block and kill creatures off if you choose, or you can just not block with them and just get in for straight damage. So he's a really good card, game winning card without a shadow of a doubt. I'll only run one of the Geist Honored Monks. There's 2, but I only currently run 1. It's a 5 cost, and when it enters a battlefield, it puts 2 1/1 white spirits down that can fly, and its power and toughness are as equal to the number of creatures you control. A bit like the Odric, the Crusader of Odric, but really good card because it also has Vigilance as well. But I only run 1 of them. Yet again, I mean, I could take, as I said, one of the Master Decoys out and put another one of them in if I want, but the way I'm running it, I kind of like it just now this way. Captain of the Watch, I'm only running one of them, 6 cost, Vigilance, all other soldiers you get +1/+1, it comes in the battlefield with 3 other soldiers, and they all have Vigilance, because this gives Vigilance to soldiers. So yet again, just this sort of stacking up, along with Honour of the Pure and a Glorious Anthem, you're just making all your really weak creatures really strong. And then my final card, Sun Titan, 6 cost, it's a giant, Vigilance, whenever Sun Titan enters a battlefield or attacks, you may return a target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less. So basically any permanent card that you've got that's 3 or less comes back on the battlefield, and as you can see, pretty much my entire deck is 3 or less. I've only got 4 cards that are above 3 or less, so that's kind of the sort of way I've run it. The cards I'm not running, and I'll try and explain why. I took out one of the Pacifies, as I said, because I'm running 2 and I needed space for other things. The ring, I think the 2 weakest rings are probably this one and the Ancient Wilds one. I don't like the rings in any of the decks, this one especially. Your creature has Vigilance. I suppose if you're running the deck slightly different and you're going for the stronger creatures, you might want to run this to make them stronger because it makes them bigger, but it's just 3 costs to get it on anything, and the Vigilance isn't that big thing, especially if you've got Night Watch dude, he makes it all your soldiers Vigilance, so I don't run it. Spectral Rider is a good card. Intimidate, but then if you play against another white deck, it's not that good. It's just a 2/2 for 2, so I'd rather run other things instead of it. As I've said, like for 2 I've got I could take one of these guys out, one of the Master Decoys out and stick him in, but I kind of just running all 3 of them at the moment. I do not run the Squadron Hawk. You're probably screaming, why do you not run Squadron Hawk? I like Squadron Hawk, but I think I would rather run it if there was 4 in the deck. The fact there's only 3 annoys me. It's like you're not getting the full ability of this ability. It's like when Squadron Hawk enters a battlefield, you can take 3 other cards named Squadron Hawk and put them in your hand. But there's only another 2 in the deck. So if there was 4, I would probably run it. But the fact there's not, I just went, nope, I'm not going to bother. Just going to get rid of it. Not going to run it at all. I don't run the Flicker Wisp either. 3 cost, 3/1. It's kind of your tricksy card. Dropping it in, taking rid of a creature while you're attacking to maybe win the game. Taking a creature, attacking, that kind of thing, but I just don't run it. I'd rather have other things in my deck. I don't run Guardian's Pledge. It's a 3 cost instant that gives all your creatures +2. It's a tricks card if you so need it for maybe perhaps blocking. I don't run it. The way I've got my deck set up, it's all about the little creatures and just throwing all these little soldiers at them and just powering them up, so I don't run either of them. The Intrepid Hero, he's pretty good against things like Pack Instincts because they have a lot of big creatures, but I guess some decks it's what's the word, situational. I mean, if you're playing on one of the weaker decks like Goblins, you're probably not going to use his ability that often, and it's a 3 cost 1/1. So I was like, get rid of him. I mean, he could come back in, but currently we're not running him. Moving on, if you've watched Weapons of Mass Gaming already, they've already described this card as horrendous. And yeah, I don't quite get it. I mean, it's a 3 cost 2/3, so that it's not too bad. I mean, if you're powering up along with Glorious and Anthem, you can be quite good. But whenever another creature enters a battlefield, untap this guy. I mean, that is not particularly a great ability. So, well, we don't run them. Night Guard Patrol's pretty good. First Strike and Vigilance. The First Strike's kind of cool, 3 cost, but he's got 1 in the bum, so I kind of rather run other things, so I just dropped him out. Yeah, Pen on Blade, 3 cost, 4 to equip. That says enough. Sorry guys, having a wee cough. Safe Passage. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and your creatures you control this turn. That's kind of cool. I mean, you can do lots of kind of tricksy things if you've got mana opening, like he swings in for maybe a lethal with a lot of good creatures. You drop this and drop this one as well, sorry, Guardian's Pledge, so your guys don't die but they're pretty strong to kill off. But it's all very tricksy, and you know, when I run this card I didn't think it done as well as it should. It never really was brilliant. I'd rather have a creature, so, and the way I run it, as I've said, it's all disposable, so I just get rid of that. I'm not really particularly bothered about any one of my creatures in a sense. I mean, obviously the big 3 at the top you are, but generally everything below I'm not fussed about. We took all these guys out because there was just no space for them. As I said, I mean, I could take these guys out, but these are 4 costs, and they don't come back with Sun Titan because they're like sorcery. They're not permanents, so I just got rid of them all. Another card everyone will probably be annoyed that I don't run, Dawn Elemental. I like this card. It's a 4 cost, and it prevents all damage that would be dealt to you, so you can get this down and start swinging in, and it doesn't take any damage, I suppose. I think Trample still comes over the top though, so if he swings in with 6, you're still taking 3. So I just kind of was like, nah, you know what, it's a 4 cost, it doesn't get its ability with Sun Titan, you know, it's a 4 cost, I want to run everything really cheap, so I just binned it. I don't really particularly like this card, the Elgod Inquisitor, Elgod Inquisitor. It's a 4 cost 2/2, and when it dies it puts a 1/1. I mean, it has lifelink, but pfft, you know, I mean, really, for 4? It's a 2/2 for 4. I mean, Odric's 4. Odric's 4. Who would you rather have down, Odric or this? Odric. So we bent him. Mausoleum Guard. It's a Scout Human 2/2 again, but the difference is when this one dies you put 2 white tokens down. Yeah, kinda handy, but it's a 4 cost 2/2, and it's the same cost as Odric again, and I'd rather have Odric, so I binned it. Signal of the New Dawn, bringing creatures back. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, but you're paying 2, and it's a bit, it's only putting them back into your hand. I mean, with the current way I'm running it with the cheap creatures, late on this can quite handy, because you're basically, every time something dies, it's going back into your hand. But nah, I just got rid of it. Windborne Charge, it's a 4 cost, give 2 creatures you control +2 in flying. Yes, you can use this to swing in and maybe win you the game. But it's a 4 cost, and it's tricksy, so I just got rid of it. As you can see, I don't run the Archon of Justice either. 4/4 that has fly in, and when it dies, it exiles a target creature. Really good, but it's a 5 cost. As I said, I've got a particular mindset of how I want to run this deck. I want it disposable and just loads and loads of soldiers. Now that makes it quite dangerous against some decks like Obedient Dead that can drop Mutilate and wipe the board. But then I've got lots of these 1 costs, so I can hopefully not put too much power out. He does that, and then I can start dropping them down again, and then he's only really left with Infest and Murders to get rid of them. Or the Worm, what's the Worm called again? I can't remember the Worm, but it can give you -2/-2. That also, but I'm not a big I mean, I like this card, but it just didn't fit into the deck. I was running it for a while, but it just didn't fit. It was a bit clunky for the way I'm running it, so I got rid of it. As I'm saying, we're already running one of the Geist Honor Monks. Maybe could chuck in the other one. It's, I mean, a really good card for this deck. It's only a 5 cost, and it can become really powerful. So, but we decided not to bother. Turn the Tables is an interesting card. I've never run it myself, but I was watching the guys over at WMG, and they were talking about, like, you know, if using it against Obliterator, if you swing in and Obliterate does damage, you cast that, and Obliterate does damage against itself, wiping out his entire side. So it's quite a tricksy card, and I like that. And it's possible I'd put it in the deck, but it's so situational. So you're talking about coming up against Obedient Dead, and just hoping you hit this card, and then having it in your hand, Casey drops Obliterator. And there's a good chance he is, because I mean, you can go and get cards from your deck, but yeah, again, nah, just dropped it out there. As I said, my cards are disposable, so I'm not too fussed. I've got ways of getting around Obliterator with all the removal and pacify cards. As I said, we only run the 1 Captain of the Watch. Good card as well. I could possibly put another one of them in, really boost my guys up if I drop 2 of them, but we're currently running 1. Spirit of the Hearth, I've never run it. It's a 4/5 flyer, and you have hexproof, so that means, I believe, watching the guys at WMG, they were saying that you have hexproof, so no spells can cast directly at you. but then they can just target this guy and kill this guy. So, I mean, he's only got 5 in the back. I suppose it would slow down maybe Born of Flame, but then 6 cost means that Born of Flame is going to be on roughly about the same kind of mana, and that means, I mean, okay, he might have to use 2 spells to kill him, but he can kill him, so it's not overly great in my opinion. So I've dropped it out. I've never run it. I just took it out. Well, that's a lie. I ran it once because I unlocked it and ran it for a game and actually drew it, but it didn't do anything. I cast it, but I'd already won the game by the time I got around to that point. I'd rather be hitting my Sun Titan or my Captain the Watch at that cost, or, you know, my Geist Honor Monk or Odric, who's a wee bit cheaper. They're the cards I'd rather be hitting, so I just got rid of it. Archangel, 5/5 Flying Vigilance for 7. 7. You know, quite expensive card. If it had maybe something else, maybe like First Strike or something, I don't know. You know, I mean, 7 cost. I mean, I think Baneslayer Angel's cheaper than Archangel, and, you know, Baneslayer would kick our ass. So that's why we don't run that. And we don't run Mal's Calcify, destroy all non-white creatures. I mean, it's pretty good for 7. It's your deck clear, so it can be quite cool. But then, I mean, I suppose, I'm just trying to think of when, if you're ever in a position, I suppose, when you need to use this, I mean, it can win you the game if you've got a little bit of power and you wipe out their side, but it's just so expensive that I just thought, nah, don't run it. So there we go, guys, there's the current 60 cards I'm running for my version of Peacekeepers. I obviously don't know if this is the best way to run the deck, but it's the way I'm running it, and I'm really enjoying playing with it. It's a really, really good deck, especially from spending so much time on Ancient Wilds and just being so frustrated with that deck, that this one just seems to, work a lot smoother. It just seems to flow nicely. So there we go, guys, we'll post up probably one game just after this goes up, or it'll probably go up about the same time depending on the upload time, but there should be a game going up right after it, and this is what we're going to run for the next couple of days, well, maybe about 5 or 6 days. So there we go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll just say one thing. Thanks, guys, for all the subscribers that have just come over from the Jules community and everything. I've only been doing these videos for a short period of time, and, you know, I'm really, really happy with all the feedback. You guys have been amazing, leaving really cool, nice comments, helping me out, pointing out the things I could do better. I really, really appreciate all your support, and I do have plans of what I want to do. I do eventually want to get around to doing, you know, a lot of sub games, maybe a day where I'm like, you know, advertise that I'm on and I'm going to play with subs and record just against the subscribers, two-headed giants against some of the subscribers with me and stuff. Lots and lots of cool ideas, but right now I'm just going to go, my plan is just to get through the decks, playing through all the decks, and then we'll take it from there. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all you guys. Kuber TV, signing out.